Right then, time to get back to this one. So I just want to spend a little bit of time, hopefully not bore you to tears, just going over a few things with this bike. So first thing is, this bike, anybody with eyes that's watched the whole series, it's not the same bike we started with. So let's tell that story. The title of this will have the words 1984 on it, but this bike is actually 1983. And there's a reason for that. There's two bikes involved in this little saga. If you go all the way back, I bought a 1984 V65 Magna, and then I started buying parts off another V65 Magna, this one. So anybody who's familiar with a British comedy called Only Fools and Horses, there's a character in that called Trig. He's a council worker of some description, and at work he always walks around with a broom. And Del Boy famously says, and I'm not quoting here, that he's had the same broom for like 30 years. It's had 12 different heads and 10 different handles, but it's the same broom. Well, yeah, this bike is now Trig's broom. But let's tell you why. So we found some quite fundamental problems. There's an episode where I spend an awful lot of time down looking at holes in this frame caused by the California box of green goodness that was pumping garbage into the frame and causing it to rust. And that, at the time, I said may well lead to the scrapping of that bike, and that's what's happened. That bike frame has been scrapped. Still got the engine, but this engine came out of this frame. One of the forks came out of this frame, both wheels, the rear suspension, most of the exhaust system. I bought the headers and the collector box from America, and lots of other parts. And what came off the old bike essentially was this lot here: one of the forks, the fender, tank, seat, wiring harness, some other bits and bobs, but the majority of it is from the other frame. Now, putting this 1983 bike back together means I had to re-register this bike, and I had to scrap the other bike, and that's what we've done. So yes, I've made one good bike out of two. It's all OEM. They're a year apart. The only thing that I've altered on the bike is removing the California box of bike rotting. We got rid of that because I don't need it in this country. It's got nothing to do with UK laws. But we've still got a lot to do. There's a lot that I've done that I'm not happy with. I don't like these replacement brake hoses. They don't go in these, and just, yeah, they're not going to touch the wheel because they're resting against the fender. I've done something very strange here. They are supposed to be around the other side, but when I do it, I get stiff throttle cables. So that's why they're there at the moment while I figure that out. But then I also have to stop myself, because yes, we've put this bike back together. Yes, it's in reasonably good condition, but yes, we've still got work to do, and there's a lot that I know I needed to do. I've got a little pile of parts sitting in there. So first time we rode this and gave it any beans, we found the clutch slipping. So we're going to replace those. I've got the parts for that. Well, hopefully I have. I need to check the spring in there. There's just one spring in these ones. It's different to the V45. We'll get into it when I do it. Brake calipers. We got them freed up and moving, but I never replaced the seals. I've got a full set of seals for both front calipers and the rear caliper. And after we started riding it, we also started to see this. So we know that that's leaking. And if you look at this one, some staining round here, it's very subtle. Your bike will give you clues. Now the biggest clue for this bike is actually down here. See this? Now that can only have come from one of two places. This oil stain was not there, which means it's either out of these calipers, not seeing anything there, and the fluid level seems to be okay, or it's out of these forks and it's been running down here and dripping off somewhere. There, I can feel it, it's wet there. It's the only place that's wet is behind there, look. Okay, now that still could have come out of here, but that is a massive warning sign. I'm not riding this bike anymore, not until we've fixed this. And here's the reason why. And you should watch for stuff like this. You see this disc? You see how it's got a dark band? That's oil contamination. So these pads are ruined. I might be able to clean this up. We'll get some brake clean on it and give it a good scrub up and see if we can get rid of that. But it'll be all in here. See? So we've got to clean that up. We've got to stop that leaking. We have to have this resolved. We cannot have a lubricant on brake discs. Brake discs are all about friction. You don't want lubrication. That's why you don't overpack these with grease. So we've got some work to do, but we're definitely getting there. I've put another tank of fuel through this now. Done another 100 miles. It needs the tap it's doing, but it rides really nice. Gearbox is nice. A little bit crunchy first to second, but I've yet to find one of these that isn't. So I'm going to get these few things done. Then we're going to do a little bit more test riding. And then we're going to take this on a trip. We're going to go somewhere, don't know where. Throw a sleeping bag and a tent on the back. Grab my wallet, leave my mobile phone. And let's just disappear off into jolly old England and see what this thing can do. Okay, moved it round the front. So, block of wood under the engine, trolley jack under that, check the front wheel off the ground. And what we're going to be looking at, I don't know if you can see on here, but this fork on the top has got some quite bad pitting marks. Now this isn't a working part of the stanchion. There's nothing rubbing up and down this, so this is just cosmetic. Big scratch just here, and then if you look below, very difficult to see from where you are, but there's some very, very, very tiny pitting on here. Now this isn't the one that's leaking really badly. Just going to go around here. This one is. Now the good news is, on this one, maybe because it's been leaking so much, there's no pitting. And I've got one of these forks that came off this bike. This one's actually off the old bike. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to take them both apart. I'm going to use the stanchion out of the other one. I think, I'm uncertain about the rebound, track rebound stuff on the other one. Simple enough job here. So take that off the fork brace, get rid of the fender, undo both of the brake calipers, we just tie wrap those up, stop them from hanging on the brake lines. With those out of the way, bolt out of that, wheel off, and then the only thing holding the fork in place at that point is the 2 pinch bolts. Oh, and this band here, which we just need to loosen up. That's there's a hole in the top of the stanchion here, and air comes through that into this. Pipe runs between the two, air. So we just need to loosen that off as well. I'll have to look at that. So I've got a horrible feeling that might be just held in by screws, so it might just pull out anyway. We'll find that out. But we're going to end up with basically just the 2 forks sticking down. We'll loosen one of them up, pull it out, fork out, we'll come back to it there. So that's the first planner today. Now, I just wanted to do these today, get these done, because this one's obviously bad. Got to get that done. I think that's what's causing the little pool of oil. But it could be the calipers. And we've got the calipers off the wheel. We might as well take that next step and do the seals in those 2 front calipers. I've got the seals, let's do them. And then while we're at it, we might as well do the back one, which means we've rebuilt the brakes, the front suspension, and we can rely on it, hopefully. So that's what we're going to look at today. Chunk of stuff missing. That took all of about 10 minutes, maybe a bit longer because I had to go and get some tools I didn't have out. But that's it. Whole front end stripped down. We've got these to replace. I can show you this a bit closer up now, you'll see what I'm talking about. So if I'm just going to give this a wipe down. Now, let's have a look, shall we? See this pit in here? It's quite, I don't know how well it's going to show up. Let's get it a bit closer. But anyway, there's a lot of pit in here. Now that's outside of the travel area, lower down. But even as I'm looking at the travel area, yeah, there's pits all over it. As I said, I do have another one of these. I'm not sure of the condition of this or the track rebound system, which is this thing sticking at the bottom. So I think what I'll do is I will use the stanchion out of the other one and all of this off of this one. Springs as well. I'll keep the springs from this one because they're going to match that one, whatever it is. I'm not buying new springs. So the next difficult bit, and I may well put it back in the clamps to do this, is we've got to get this out of here. Now I normally use a rattle gun for that, but I haven't got it today, which is a bit of an oversight. So we'll just have to have a go and see what we can do. But first, cup of tea and a smoke. Right then, I lost a bit of video there, sorry about that. Seals are in. Let me just show you what we were dealing with. You can see how bad these are. They're full of rust and water. A lot of water came out in the oil on one fork as well, which I've never seen before. Yeah, they were well ready for changing. Also fished out this bit. Piece of broken plastic crunched up. That was in there and decided not to put it back in. So, the bit you missed, bottom of these forks, let me grab this one. Oh, I decided not to use this fork. It's actually worse than the one that's on it. I thought it was better, but the only reason I was changing it was to get rid of these rust spots up here. And as you can see, this one's got them as well. It's not too bad down here. But anyway, what I was getting to was, in the end of here is an Allen bolt. And it's connected to a tube that sits inside this stanchion and can freely spin. Now you can get a long rod with a hex on the end that will go into the end of it to hold it while you do it, but basically just put a rattle gun on that and it'll come out, and do the same when you're putting it back in. If you're struggling when you put it back in, stand the thing down, get somebody else to do the rattle gun, and just put all your weight on this and compress it, and then it'll come out. These ones actually came out just with the normal ratchet, so that can go back in the shed. It's still a useful spare. So with that out, you take the spring clip that sits above the seal out. These were rusty. Once that's out, you get hold of the two halves and basically pull them, knock, 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 and eventually the bush will knock the seal out, and then it's just a case of sliding the seal off. Now on this one, what I found up here, there's a little groove, very sharp as well, little groove in the stanchion with a little circlip ring on it that just, I think its only job is to set this at the right height. Let me check, make sure they are both the same height. Yeah, they are. So it's to set them at the same height. So you basically push it up till that stops and then tighten everything up. Normally I just line these up. That one looks like it needs to go up a little bit. I normally just line the nuts up to where the bottom of the nut lines up with the top of the clamp. So new seals on, reassemble, Same job when you're trying to tighten that nut up. That one was a pain in the arse, could not do it. Had to lean on it like mad, try and grow another hand because you need to hold the stanchion and that and the ratchet. So I was holding that with my feet, that with my one hand, and tightening it with the other hand, and eventually got it. This one went easy in both directions, and just tightened up. So with that, I'm going to reassemble the front, put the fender back on, I think, front wheel back on, axle back in, all that business. Let's get it all back together, except for the brake calipers. And as soon as we've done that, we'll start on these brake calipers. Might as well get the seals changed in them while we're at it, bleed the brakes again, and then that should be, well, hopefully we've already sorted out. I'm pretty certain it was this fork that was leaking that contaminated that one disc and put a little puddle of oil on the ground, but we shall see. Right then, front wheel back on. I think I tried some time lapse, so either you've just been watching time lapse or it was a complete disaster. Sorry, every car in the world coming past. Yeah, but we'll see. I'm still getting used to this camera. Anyway, front wheel back on, but there's a big but here. Although I've tightened these up, I haven't torqued that yet, and that's just nipped up because when I put the calipers back on, we got to check the distance between the caliper, which is attached to this stanchion, this fork leg, and this disc. So you need a feeler gauge between them, that loose, and then you, if needs be, move this from side to side before you tighten that up. So essentially that can be tight, but that can't, because you might need to move that. So we'll do that later. Now we're going to get on with those calipers. Right then, it's been too hot today, way too hot. Let's get me out. And I lost another bit of film, so we'll try this again. Fortunately, I've still got one to go, but I'm just pumping out these one at a time. The other one's back, done, finished, both are done, pads are back on, bolted back on, not tightened up yet. Then all I did was put that brake pad, which is now covered in brake fluid, great. Good job I've got loads of brake cleaner. I think this one was contaminated anyway. But I just jammed that in here and then pumped until this piston came out. And then what I'll do is I'll put this one back in, shove it all the way back, put a socket or something in just to jam this one in, and then pump that one out. Or I could just put that one pad back in, let it push all the way out again, doesn't really matter. They're not bad, as you can see, although there was quite a lot of horribleness inside here. Now, what we need now buy yourself a set of these. They're not really expensive. I can't remember, they were like a tenner or something. Dentist tools. They are so useful. Like for getting these out. There we go, done. Listen to that bike. Hope you could hear that. Hello, dog. Right, set of seals for that. A little bit of brake fluid on them. Although I suspect half of it's sweat. This is going to be the worst mishmash video I've ever done. Okay, that's one in. Now, when you put these ones in, you need to run your finger around them after you've done them. They're really thin and they have a habit of rolling over when you put in the last bit in, like that one's trying to do now. So just run your finger around them and just make sure you can't feel a lip. And that one's great. So, I'll put that, just get it in the first one. Then you're going to struggle because of the trapped air. We also don't want to push air back up inside the system, so try that again. Okay, now while you've still got it open, let's just top the cylinder up. Finger over the end. Get rid of some of that. Okay, just nip that up. Let's give it a clean. Well, not much point cleaning it off now. Clean it off in a minute. So we want this in this side now, just enough to stop that one from coming back out again. It'll want to come out before the other one because it's all clean and it's got a nice new seal on it. Okay, and then just pump it out. It'll cockle over when it gets there, like that. And then just careful because it's going to spurt a little bit. Oh, heck is going on here? There it goes again. New set of pads, I think. Okay, shove that one back in. Oh, great. Sprayed that all over my wheel, all over my disc. It's one of those days today. 3 bits of video that I thought I was videoing, I wasn't. Get some brake cleaner on them. Shined your wheels up nice though. Oh well. Let's just leave that there for a second. So, gonna crud on this one. Just Scotch Brite that. It's not rust. It's just old rubber. There we go. And this one has got a bit of a stain on it. That looks good. Lovely. Okay. This one out. And that one. I'll wipe round in there. Okay, looks good. And then same again. Loosen that off. Oh, would help if I put some seals in it. Sleep well tonight. Yep, that's good. Now that thin one, remember to watch for it rolling over. Right, that one's done. Now it's gone back. Okay. Oh, there you go. Push him all the way back. I'll just have a bleed. Oh, hang on. Let's top up. Ah, that's what's happening. Let's just shove that back up if we can. Yeah, there's plenty of space. Well, they bled. Let's get a set of pads. There I am, not videoing again. Right, we've shoved them back in and given this a wipe down. So let's put that spring back in. Only goes in one way. There's a little tab at the front that goes in a hole, and then they just push in. Drop your shoes in, pads, and then other way. Just need to shove the pad down a little bit because it's on that spring. That's one. Same again. That's two. There's a clip that holds them in. Right, this drops on and then pushes down, which locks over the end of the pins, and then it's bolted into the back of the caliper with 10mm, which I don't have. There's my 10mm. Tighten all these up once the calipers are back on, but just for now, just give them a nip. And spread your pads out, he says, and that pad move. It will move. I'll stick a screwdriver in it. Running out of steam here. It's too hot and sticky. Well, I want them move. Okay, I don't like that. I'll take it apart again. Just put them pins out. What's going on in there, because something's not happy. No, it moved for this. Right. Okay, that's better. Trying to move back to where it was before. Got my thumb in it. Now let's nip that back up. Right, that's ready to go back on. It appears to be missing a boot. Wait a minute, we're missing a whole different section. Oh, let's have a break. Okay. So, that, we just need a H6. Oh. Six. No, it's not. It's an 8. No, it can't be. 8. 8. And we just got to pump the cylinders, pads, and there we go, we've got brakes again. Oh, something just moved. What was that? One of the pistons. That's better. Let me just tilt this camera up a bit. Excellent. That's better than it was before. Must have been a bit of air in it. Whatever you do when you're doing this, just keep that topped up. I've used, I don't know, quarter a cup full of fluid, and everything that's come out was bad. So we flushed the system out. We've got, wow, we've got pedal for days. Pedal, lever. So just top that back up, put the top back on that, and we're done. And I'm not going to make you watch that. So we've done the front fork seals. This one got 560 cc's of fork oil is what I'm using, although it says to use ATF, which is I believe what you Americans use. And this one got 585 cc's. New seals in there, cleaned them all up. They're pretty good anyway, so, but one was leaking, definitely. And it's contaminated that disc, so not going to make you watch this, but I'm going to spend about 20 minutes now just spraying that down with brake clean and cleaning it. So for now I'll finish and tidy up, and thanks for watching.